out of 10 do not recommend online classes. Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I am doing my May wrap-up and June TBR. A little late, but not like terribly late, so I'll take it. May was insane. I finished school and then I had about 3 days at home, and then we went to Cincinnati, Ohio for my sister's Junior Olympic National Championship meet, and then I was home for that for about 3 days, and then I went to New York for about a week, and then that Friday that I got home from New York, I was in a plane for 3 hours, a bus for 2 hours, and then I drove a car for 2 hours, and then the next day, that Saturday, my sister and I drove to a lake because it was our family's vacation at a lake cabin, and we went to that for Memorial Day. But now I'm home. But May was crazy busy with like traveling and school and everything. But I still managed to read 6 books, kind of technically, for being technical, 5 books and a short story novella thingy. But considering how crazy it was, I'm impressed with myself. Also considering last month I read 1 book. The first book I read in May was Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. This is about a group of teens that go glamping, which is glamorous camping. Think of it as a hotel in the wilderness. And our main character Zori didn't really want to go, but she decided to go because the guy that she kind of had a crush on was gonna go. But then her arch nemesis slash low-key ex-boyfriend Lennon is also going on it, and so now she's not happy about it. But then something happens amongst the group, and the rest of the group ends up abandoning Zori and Lennon in this camp, and they go on a adventure of sorts. This book was fantastic, and it made me want to go camping so bad. I haven't been camping in forever, and this just made me desperately want to do it again. This wasn't my favorite Jen Bennett book. My favorite is still Alex Approximately. I just don't think she'll ever be able to top that book, to be perfectly honest. But I just didn't like the characters quite as much in this one as I did in that one. But it was still a great story, still super enjoyable. I loved the setting. If you are in the mood for a cute contemporary, or if you are going camping and then you want a book to read, pick up this book, because then you will like be satisfying that desire to go camping while you're reading it, because now I'm just sitting here desperately wanting to go camping. Yeah. The next book I read was Meet Cute by a whole bunch of authors, and this is basically a book about a bunch of meet cutes. A meet cute is when the 2 protagonists who are destined to be the love interests meet for the first time. And I was really underwhelmed by this book. I did really like one. I think it was called The Intern. I think that's the one I really liked. And there were a couple others that I also enjoyed, but there was not one that was just like, yes, this is what I'm here for. Part of the problem was there's virtually nothing happening. Like, it's exactly what it says it is. It's a book of meet cutes. They're meeting. But I didn't realize how unsatisfied that would leave me feeling. Like, most of them were just boring, because like all that's happening is they're meeting. And if they weren't boring, then I was just sitting here wanting more, because where's the rest of the story? Overall, it just left me wanting something else. So underwhelmed. Not awful, but not the best. Next book I read was Unravel Me by Tahira Mafi. This is the second book in the Shatter Me series, where it's Juliet Ferraris. Is that how you say her last name? Ferraris? Because that's how it's always said in my head. And you've probably heard about this book, so like I feel like I don't really need to explain it. But she can't touch people, and she touches them, they die, and there's corrupt governments, and it's like a dystopian. Yeah, there you go. That's the book. The first book left me wanting to continue on, but not really caring that much. Like, it was good. It was one of those where it's like, eventually I'm gonna finish this, probably. And I did. But it wasn't one that left me desperate for the next book. So I actually read this on the plane ride back from Cincinnati, a little bit during those 3 days, and then on the plane ride to New York and in New York. So it took me like a long time to get through this book just because it was so busy, so I was like reading it in little bursts. And it grew on me. It grew me to the point that once I finished it, I went onto our library's digital downloading system and immediately searched for the 3rd book and downloaded the 3rd book, which is Ignite Me by Tahira Mafi. And so I also read that one this month. It really picked up pace. I cared about the characters more. The last 2 books I just liked so much better than the first book, and it was a bit difficult to get in the second book because I had basically forgotten everything that had happened in the first book, so I was a little bit confused. But overall, I love those 2 a lot more. Still not like my all-time favorite series, but I did really enjoy it. Now, originally, I hadn't planned to read the 3rd book right away, which is why I had to frantically check and see if the library had it on our ebook site. I was going to read Beneath the Sugar Sky, which is the Wayward Children's book number 3. By C.N. McGuire, I didn't realize this was the third book. I thought it was the second book. I thought I was going in order, but it wasn't. This series is kind of like another look at an Alice in Wonderland world, if that makes sense. It's a book about these kids who find these doors into these other worlds and then live in those other worlds for a certain amount of time before they are sucked back into our dull, dreary, real life world. Their parents can't really deal with them, so then they send them off to this school, and so it's a school for people who have been elsewhere. And I really liked the first book, but it was again one of those where like I wasn't desperate to continue on, but I wanted to eventually. And this third book, not the second book, the third book was amazing. I absolutely loved it. And now I really want to go back and read the first one because I just feel like I'll love it so much more. And I don't really know what it is about it, but I just feel like I'll love it so much more now. But in Beneath the Sugar Sky, I'm not going to spoil it, but they do more world adventuring. So in the first book, they're kind of centered in the school, but in the third book, they travel into a world for a bit. Also in the second book, which I'll talk about in a minute. And I just really liked getting to explore one of the worlds these kids went to. I loved it. So far, it's probably my favorite book out of the series, I'd have to say. And there is a fourth one coming out, and I will definitely be picking that one up. I actually didn't read the second book in May. I actually just finished it the other day, so it'll be in my June wrap-up. But I did read the second book, so don't worry guys, I went back and I caught up. And the last book I read in May was Double Crossed by Ali Carter. This is a short story that I have on my Kindle. I was reading all these books on my Kindle because, you know, a Kindle's just easier to take along when you travel, and we were on the bus and I ran out of stuff to read and I didn't want to start a whole new book, so I was like, I'll just read a short story. I read it very quickly and then still was out of stuff to read, so then I had to like converse with people, but you know, it's fine. But I mean, it was as enjoyable as ever. This is a crossover between the Gallagher Girls series and the High Society series, which I think she needs to do more of, and I think she is doing more, which I'm so excited for. It's Ali Carter, guys. I love Ali Carter. I've read it before. I've read it multiple times and I reread it. Totally recommend. So that is it for my May wrap up. My June TBR, I've already read 4 books and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about them because some of them are just fantastic. I am currently reading First and Then by Emma Mills, which also I have some things to say about this. So just be excited for the June wrap-up because it's gonna be a doozy. After First and Then, my plan is to read Fury Born by Claire, is it Legrand or Legrand or this person. If you saw my New York book haul, I will leave it linked. Hang on. Wait. I'm gonna leave it linked in this corner, then you will know that. Super excited about this. So this is what I'm planning to read after First and Then. After that, who knows? I'm a mood reader. I don't make TBRs really. So that is it for this video. Comment down below, let me know what you read in the month of May. Also comment down below if there is a book that you read that just made you desperately want to do what the characters are doing. Were they going to a convention? Were they doing an art show? Or were they going camping and now you desperately want to go camping? So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you all again in another one soon.